challan you? Why can't the municipal corporation challan you for throwing things into the drains which are blocking, because they all go to the Yamuna? The ability to make people accountable. You cannot allow this situation where one arm of government can throw it on another arm. You have to be very clear that you have done this you were supposed to do, you did not do it, and to raise levels. I can say that not everything worked, because we had officers who were really, really very bad. They just couldn't care less. By nature, I can focus, but I cannot be made to only focus on education or only on health. I can do lots of things and I enjoy that. I really, even today, enjoy it immensely. Tipping point at which you have to be assertive. Not everything you need to be assertive, because you will have disharmony. You will have problems in the house, you'll have problems in the office. You'll be seen as aggressive, abrasive, not able to get on with people. But you have to pick your moments. And I think what I wanted to advise the younger officers was, pick your moments. Be very, very certain, is it worth fighting over? If it is worth fighting over, be prepared for what is going to come. There will be a backlash. Be for all women. Right. Not just for women who go to an office. And all women are your ordinary people who are running a house in a normal, not middle class family, even working class family, even agricultural family, rural families. Are they going to get any benefit at all?
Hello and welcome to Indian Masterminds. As you know, my colleague Pallavi recently spoke with Shailja Chandra, the first female Chief Secretary of Delhi. The first part of their conversation, where Ms. Chandra talks about her UPSC journey and the challenges of working in a male-dominated field, is already live on our channel. You can find the link in the description box. In this part, Ms. Chandra discusses her work on plans to clean Yamuna, the challenges involved, and whether it's truly impossible to clean the river after so many years of effort. Let's dive into their conversation.
You became part of NGT to take care of Yamuna river pollution and
that was something which came out of the blue, and I was asked to be on a two-person committee to look at the NGT's own orders on how to reduce the pollution or control the pollution in the river Yamuna. And the judge simply said, give me an action plan. And we gave a 16-chapter action plan in a matter of 2 months after consulting just about everyone. He said, yes, go ahead. And my colleague and I think we did it in a very practical, down-to-earth way. We would have meetings with the Jal Board, which is a big player, but not just Jal Board, because there were 16 stakeholders in this Yamuna cleaning. And these 16 stakeholders all have a role. It's not 1, 2, 3, 4, they're all together. So the Delhi Development Authority is there, the governments of Uttar Pradesh and Haryana are there, because their drains also come into the same Yamuna. Right. And there are also the Delhi Jal Board is a very, very big player in all this, because sewage is almost 45% of the pollution. Industrial pollution is there, and solid waste, which is under the municipal corporation, going into the drains, is there. So the number of stakeholders was 16. And so we used to have these one-on-one meetings where we used to put it to them that this is the issue. What are you going to do about it? And they would come up with solutions. Only thing was, there used to be the usual, this is his work, this is ANDMC ka kaam hai, ye mera kaam nahi hai, ye to falani corporation ka kaam hai. It was more a very, very, you might say, I, me, they kind of a situation, which could be tackled. And I think we tried to do that. We gave 5 very big monitoring committee reports to the chairman of the NGT. All of them were accepted. That they were acted on or not acted on, I really don't know now, because once we gave over charge in the January of 21 when COVID started, I don't know much about it. But from the newspaper reports, I'm really surprised that this has not taken off, because we had every single thing segmented. In terms of sewage, in terms of industrial effluent, in terms of solid waste disposal, in terms of fines, in terms of if traffic police can challan you, Why can't the municipal corporation challan you for throwing things into the drains which are blocking, because they all go to the Yamuna? As far as the unauthorized colonies are concerned, the sewage systems did not exist. Sewage is something which is 45% of the filth that is going into the Yamuna. It is possible to stop it. And a lot was being done, but the last mile, what you had to do, was not being done. Households were doing industrial work and allowing the, you might say, pickling and all those things which are acid and things going straight into the drains, going into the Yamuna. So we had it all mapped out. Whatever we did in our time, I'm more than satisfied. After that, we were asked to hand over, and we handed over. We did our work for 3 years, around 3 years, and gave these 5 reports, all of which were accepted. But we had a large number of minutes of every single meeting. They are all available. They were on the website. I was asked to create, by the chairman of the NGT, create a website which puts out everything you do and also puts out the monitoring committee reports and the NGT's orders thereon. So we did all that. So if anybody is interested, it's possible to see. All that I can say is the cleaning of the Yamuna needs the ability to make people accountable. You cannot allow this situation where one arm of government can throw it on another arm. You have to be very clear that you have done this you were supposed to do, you did not do it, and to raise levels. I can say that not everything worked, because we had officers who were really, really very bad. They just couldn't care less. That is when I felt highly frustrated, because it really meant talking to the chief secretary and saying, this guy is just doing nothing. And the chief secretary would occasionally take action, occasionally not take action. That is where I felt that I had recommended to the chairman NGT that this should be brought under the lieutenant governor, because you can't have a situation where officers don't listen about things which are so obvious, which have to be done. So I would say that it is doable. You cannot clean the Yamuna, but you can stop pollution in a very large measure going in, and the Delhi Pollution Control Committee has to be strong and effective. In our time, we did a lot to change that. Again, I don't know whether they have got effective people there, and the Central Pollution Control Board has also to give the support, but it requires single-minded attention every single day. It cannot be something that you do in a meeting. It's something you have to do by going out, seeing things, collecting the people around you. We used to go to Barapula Nala and listen to the residents. That sort of. I'm not saying we did great things. I certainly don't want to take credit that we did great things, but we related with the public.
Right. Yeah, so I was going to ask you, even after so many action plans, so many funds going on, still Yamuna and even for various part of Ganga also, the same situation is there. But you answered it, because there are many reasons because of which Yamuna and Ganga are still not clean, even though so many funds have already gone. So now coming to your writing, you have a blog over to Shailja, right? So when did you start it? I know, obviously, you told us in the starting of our conversation that you had a career in copywriting before you came to IS. So that explains that you have interest in writing. But when did you start to write blogging? Actually, it's very categorical. I can see it's no less than any news website or any reading website. It's very categorical. So how did you start it?
It was 2010, and I suddenly felt that I did not know enough about. I did not know enough about Twitter, about Facebook, about blogs, and felt that why should I be left behind? So there was this guy I knew, and I still know somebody. I was in the Delhi Public Library for 6 years as its chairman, and I came across this person of very few words who taught me what is Twitter, what is blogging, and writing was my passion. It still is. I love writing. And now, of course, at my age, I tend to spend more time on Twitter because it's short and you can finish what you have to say. Yeah. But I do enjoy writing, and it could be on many, many subjects. I mean, if you see what all I've done, it can be from literally everyday kundaks as we call them, or spats you've had with someone, or it could be something much larger, matters of social concern. It could be about health, it could be about medical malpractice, it could be about Indian medicine. So I think I have a mind which I come under the Gemini. Geminis are supposed to be like butterflies, they keep on going from one
And
thing to
I
the
am
other.
a Gemini. So
You're also. So, by nature, I can focus, but I cannot be made to only focus on
that's one
education
thing.
or only on health. I can do lots of things and I enjoy that. I really, even today, enjoy it immensely.
Yeah, I was reading about that my diary section, and वहाँ पे लिखा था you were coming back. You stopped in between to write because your latest article is of last year, I guess, or this year only. I think in this year, that car thing. But you stopped in between to write, to vlog. Like you started in 2010, but then you in between you stopped blogging.
No, I never stopped. What happened was that the diary
Acha,
is something that I stopped because there are times when you feel there's something to say, then you lose interest. You're in the thick of it.
Right.
So for many years, I did television appearances where I gave my own views as a public commentator on anything that may be happening. But in 2020, 2021, when COVID came, I was very upset with one of the anchors who cut me short because she didn't like what I said. She just cut me short. So I tried to, so she just brushed aside because she didn't like the tenor of what I was saying. Okay. So I realized I was very upset. I said, I'm not a politician. You've called me to the show. How can you behave like that with someone? So I mentioned this to my husband, and there I think his advice was very good. He said, why do you go at all? Why do you go? So I said, yes, why do I go? Why am I on television? So from that day, I guillotined going on television. 2021 onwards, nothing. But all that I'd said is already on the blog for the years that I was there, 2010 onwards, right up to 2021, it's all there. Same with all the newspaper articles. I've been writing regularly for so many newspapers, magazines, and things, which every time it comes, I put them on the blog. So they are there all together. Then any reports I've written for the government, they're all there. And if there are things which I've written for special magazines, only for bureaucrats or something, they are all there. They're all indexed. So it's a joy. I mean, I see no harm in being a Rolling Stone.
Yeah, then it's actually, I was very interesting. I was reading, especially that My Diary section. I liked it a lot. I think I read 4 or 5 articles. So yeah, and I think I'll continue that. I'm not saying just because you're sitting in front of me, but I like the way it's short also. It's not very long articles, so it's short also, and it's very interesting. So
I'm glad to hear that. I'll certainly, Pallavi, revive the diary because that is something I should keep up with, because that is the only way you're telling people of the here and the now.
Right.
So they're not interested in your views on, education and health and women and this and that. They're probably more interested.
They are interested, but it's more personal. Now you get to connect with the people.
Yes.
Yeah. And before our interview started, we were discussing about you selling your Nano. But then you said it was more for your independence. I wanted to ask you, while you were driving, there are many stereotypes related to women who drives. Have you ever been, somebody, have you ever witnessed that stereotype with you when you were on the road with your car driving?
Many times. I began driving when I was, 24 or something. I got the license at 18, but my mother never entrusted me with the car. But whenever I did get hang of that car, the traffic cop would see a woman driver and put up his hand. There was no need at all, but he'd put up his hand. It just gave him a sense of power.
Okay.
People on the road would overtake you or, give you those side glances and things like that just to show I've overtaken you. Who do you think you are? This used to go on all the time. And also trying to cut corners by overtaking you from the left or, it's blocking you just for the heck of it. The guy is watching you in the rear mirror that you're getting furious and he's having a good fun. Yes, of course one has faced that.
Right. Okay, so in one of your article, I was reading, I think it was an article or interview, you have written, and I quote, and those challenges will stem not from politicians or society, but from husbands, bosses, and colleagues. I share my words of advice to warn you against committing the same mistakes that many women before you have made, to give up the driver's seat only to build cohesion, harmony. So I think you are talking to the officers who will be joining IS or
Yes,
bureaucracy.
yes,
But
yes.
can you elaborate on that with your examples from your experiences, if you can?
Well, I can say that I have had a very supportive husband, undoubtedly, but definitely there is such a thing as the male ego.
Right.
And the kind of tendency to want to explain things because they know everything you don't. You are probably 10 steps ahead, but you do not want to spoil the moment by saying, I know, you don't have to tell me, I know. So you listen to that crap. Sorry to say, use the word crap, but you know it, but you play that along so that the harmony in the house is not lost. Same with bosses also. And same with subordinates. Sometimes they are repeating to you what you actually know.
Yeah.
I think that in all these three situations, there is a tipping point at which you have to be assertive. Not everything you need to be assertive because you will have disharmony. You will have problems in the house, you'll have problems in the office. You'll be seen as aggressive, abrasive, not able to get on with people. But you have to pick your moments. And I think what I wanted to advise the younger officers was pick your moments. Be very, very certain, is it worth fighting over? If it is worth fighting over, be prepared for what is going to come. There will be a backlash. How will you handle that backlash? It is like a chess game. You have to think it through. Is it something that you stretch your neck for the moment and you lose the real war? You've won the battle, you've lost the war. No, you have to be very clear that the issue that you will take up is something which will definitely succeed. Once you have done that, even if it is once in a year, it will get noticed, it will get spoken about. Nobody will take you for granted that easily. Husbands is a different thing altogether. As you said, you cannot tame a husband. You cannot put him in a straitjacket, but you can put a board of directors, let it be in official meetings, let it be where there are larger meetings where overwhelmingly there are men in the room. You are not being heard, you're being interrupted. That is a very big thing. You start speaking and you're interrupted. That is the time when you have something of substance to say, not because you just want to talk. Be very clear that the point you want to make is going to be of relevance to that meeting, relevance to the boss, because he's looking for solutions. He's not looking for just, talk. If you have that, be prepared to say, I would like 2 minutes to speak uninterrupted.
Right.
You just see the pin drop silence that will come. After that, say what you have to. It will be discussed in the corridors, in the rooms, that this woman is not to be taken lightly. And yet you can continue to be friendly and nice and, sort of ha-ha and whatever you want to, but they won't take those chances.
I think make your points assertive if you have to.
Not all points. Be very clear what you're choosing. You have to be it's like a game of chess. You cannot pick on anything, and don't victimize, I'm a woman, so.
Right.
It's just not worth it. It's not worth it.
One more from neighborhood examples, which I have been seeing. I am also working with women, and in my house, especially where in my in-law side, each woman is working. Actually, all of them are employed, and most, I think, 3 of them are in government sector. Only I am only in the private sector. But still, I have seen that whether you are working or not, whether your job is very demanding or it's a 9 to 5 job, still, when you go back to your home, you have to leave your workplace tension aside. You are not tired. You have to cook or whatever it is. You have to take care of the household problems and all, you have, that's a woman job only. No matter how progressive your house is or anything, it comes to you. Does it happen with the people like you who are, on very big position, like they are in bureaucracy, or it is only the problem of, the middle, I don't know, I won't say middle class, but the women who are just employed or not in a very assertive position as per the job, say.
I think it's nothing to do with middle class. It's a question of your approach to house running.
Hmm.
I think there are baskets for children, for husband, for housekeeping, for entertainment. There's so many baskets. You have to be very clear. If things go wrong, what is my backup? You should have that backup very clearly laid out, not wait for things to go wrong. That the maid will not come for work, that the children may fall sick just when you are, something important is happening in office, that the music system has failed and the children are after you, or the something has gone wrong with the air conditioner, something, the mosquitoes are troubling everybody in the house. Some of those things become your headache because probably you are more competent at dealing with them than maybe the man of the house. There are some men who are very good at it, very, very good at it. So you have to be very clear what are the things that he is going to do and what are the things you're going to do. If you are going to take on certain things, you have to have a backup. I had a huge backup and I was extremely lucky. Let me not talk down to women. I had my mother staying with me throughout. Throughout my career, she was with me and she was herself a career woman. So she was in a wheelchair for about 25 years of her. What I'm saying is that you have to pay your people who work for you more. Probably have 1.5 people in place of one because you may need a backup. You may need to have somebody on call who will take over at short notice, for whom you will pay by the day or the hour or the 3 hours if something goes wrong. This is something which has to be there as a backup. If things go wrong, who's going to step in for you?
But ma'am, I wanted to ask you, why is it still that, these problems are women problem only? How can it be a man problem also?
It can be a man's problem if the woman sets the ground and trains the young men in the house, the young boys in the house. I had 2 boys and a girl. And from day one, they realized that mom is not going to come back from office till 8:30. So I would ring them up and say, will you lay the table? Will you please see that the plants are brought in? Somebody is coming for dinner. And I used to give them responsibilities of the house, which were considered women's jobs.
Right.
Now they all know cooking. They all know how to do the shopping for the house. They know how to make basic khana. And it's a shared household, whether it is cooking, whether it is child minding, whether it is taking care of expenses, running the house kind of expenses. I don't say that they are perfect. They are very, very annoying people in their own ways. So I'm not saying that they are saints, but they have learned, because I delegated so much to them so early in life, that housework is not to be looked down on. It is not because you're doing it to help your wife. It's not because you're a doormat. If you do it, your children will do it. So I think that example is very necessary. You don't need fathers to be accompanying kids to the college to fill their forms for them. Why? Teach them early on, this is your job. And then they learn, the girls and boys realize that it is something which, if they are made independent very, very early on, they will become independent. You do not mollycoddle them. I'm not saying that I have perfect children, and I don't think that I was a perfect mother. Let me be very clear. I gave highest priority to my work. I gave highest priority to my career. I did not have political support. I did not have any great family connections. So if I had to rise, I knew it was purely on the basis of work. Wow. And therefore, I gave very high priority to work. So if I gave high priority, it was going to tell on children, it was going to tell on many other things. And I could only manage through delegation and manage through having support systems which took care of not everything, but if something went wrong, you knew which button to press to get a little additional help at a certain cost. You may say, why you? Why not your husband?
Right.
Well, I would say that that is true, but in those days, the husband wasn't going to do it. But today, my children, my boys are doing it. And they're doing it not with any sense of, what shall I say, martyrdom. They're doing it because they were forced to do it very early on.
Yeah. So they know how to do it. They are accustomed to it.
They are accustomed, yes. And when they were going, they left for America when they were very young. And they would stand with a notebook and take down, how the pyaz, and then you put this, and then you put the masala, then you put that. Because they realized that in the States, they would have to do that to be able to manage their student. They got tuition waiver in those days, but they didn't. They had to live.
Right.
So if you live on Rajma and Chola, you spend nothing. But if you want to have something fancy, you will not be able to afford it. So they learned the hard way.
Right. So continuing with women problem, there is now a period. You wrote on period leave also. I wanted to ask you, because there are various government, especially Bihar government, they have already given SLS, special leave to women. So in my view, I am like little dicey on it. Would this be allowed, or this should be given to women or not? But what's your, why are you against it? I wanted to know your opinion on this subject.
My opinion is the following. Whatever you do should be for all women,
Right.
not just for women who go to an office. And all women are your ordinary people who are running a house in a normal, not middle class family, even working class family, even agricultural family, rural families. Are they going to get any benefit at all? No. They suffer from problems because they don't know, they cannot access sanitary towels. Sanitary towels are not the best things in any case environmentally. How do they dispose of things? How do they keep hygiene? How do they ensure they don't get into other hygiene issues, which are disease prone, Those are far more important issues for women, large women, all women, millions of women, as compared to your cramps and your problems in office 2 days in a month, 3 days in a month.
Yeah.
Those are things which you want to be on the battlefront, you want to manage, you want to be in the army, you want to be in space, you want to do all the things which are enter the man's world. If you want to do that, how on earth can you do that if you say, I need also my menstrual leave?
Right.
I went through college, I went through entire service. I had plenty of women officers surrounding me. Was it an issue? They would have mentioned it if it were an issue. No. It was not an issue. One person out of maybe 100 said, oh my God, I've got these cramps today. 1 out of 100. So
I think so. If there is an issue, you can always take sick leave instead of, granted menstrual leave.
You can, and nobody's going to deny you that sick leave.
Right.
And that sick leave is something which doctors can set right. There are ways in which all your problems can be set right.
Right.
You not mollycoddle yourself and also want to be taken. All decisions in meetings are taken after 7 o'clock in the evening when the important decisions are taken. You are asked to tour at a moment's notice, at least in the IAS, on a Saturday, on a Sunday. If you are going to come up with, no, I'm on menstrual leave, what nonsense! You will miss the boat. Then be ready that you will be a mediocrity, and then don't say, oh, nobody made me this and nobody promoted me to that.
Right.
You don't know when these decisions are taken. You have to be around. You have to be part of it. You've got to care that those decisions you are a part of those decisions. You have to feel annoyed if you're not part of those decisions, if it is your area of work. So this menstrual leave just doesn't appeal to me because you're not helping the 95% of the women.
Right. And it's part of a very much larger problem related to, if you talk about menstrual hygiene or menstrual health also. Menstrual period leave is just one thing, I think. You already mentioned that there are many other issues. Still, women are not able to access, sanitary napkins or everything, and there is still lack of awareness about menstrual hygiene, and also those problems needs to be
They
tackled.
are far more important. If governments paid a little more attention to that, they would really be helping women. This
Right.
is only symbolic. It is
Right.
as symbolic. I'm very sorry to say, I'm going to say something extremely provocative and controversial. But I feel that a lot of the senior officers who get paternity leave, I'm not talking about all, there are many people who are sort of working as maybe in the academic sphere. Maybe they are working as in professions where it is necessary. But certainly in the IAS, I've yet to come across an IAS officer who needs paternity leave. They're watching television with their feet up, and the mother-in-law or mother is doing all the tending to the baby.
Right.
It's ridiculous. You're not living in the West where, yes, you do need paternity leave because you have no support systems. There, I completely endorse it. But here, particularly senior officers, you're pretty senior by the time you are having children and all that. You are sort of you're a collector or you're something, if not a collector, then something big, a special secretary or something in the government or a joint secretary or something. You certainly don't need a paternity leave because you're not using it. You're just having 15 days or 20 days given to you gratis. The woman and her mother or her mother-in-law are doing all the work.
Right, right. You have served as a bureaucrat for so many years and reached to the topmost position. What would you advise to the women who are aspiring to be an IS officer or who are, who are already in the service but have recently joined?
I would say stay focused. For a minute, feel that you really, really need to excel. And the one way that you will excel and if the Janta realizes, people who come to you, if you're able to ensure that, what shall I say, your colleagues see that you're able to deliver, if other people who are in the wider world see that you're able to deliver, that will come because you have a passion to get things done. You don't have to be an ideal person, but you definitely have to stay focused, not look on it as a job, look on it as a career. And the minute you put yourself into the shoes of somebody who has aspirations, who has ambition, nothing wrong with being ambitious, I think that women can excel, and many are. They're doing exceedingly well. My only hope is that there'll be more such women, and much more than in my time, women become very assertive. They know their rights, and I only wish that they would speak up more and not take nonsense, which sometimes is thrown at them, and for the sake of just keeping the everything going fine and not rocking the boat, you accept nonsense. My only suggestion is pick your moments. Don't do it all the time. Pick your moments and you will succeed.
Okay. On that note, thank you so much, ma'am.
So that was Shailja Chandra, retired IAS officer, in an insightful conversation with Indian Masterminds. What do you think about this interview? Let us know in the comments below. If you are new to the channel, do subscribe to Indian Masterminds. Thank you for watching.